The immortal journey we have all been on has been beautiful. Wilds has given us not one but 3 paths to immortality, and each one has flourished into something breathtaking. And here in the final update, once more, you and I shall reach for ever greater heights of immortality! So yeah, we kinda got to the immortal point where it literally looks like you're cheating. Hello, my fellow hunters, my fellow followers of immortality. It is both with great pleasure and with great sadness that I say welcome to the final immortal build of base wilds. We really have come so far, and honestly, it's ended up beyond anything I could ever have expected. I've been doing immortal builds since base world, and never did I think we'd reach the kind of heights where not only can we be this immortal, but we have the choice of doing it in such distinct, deliciously different yet equally good ways. 3 of them. The start of the game saw the classic immortality that Worldborn and Risebreak had seen too. Be tanky, have constant healing coming in, and enjoy never carting. And that's wonderful, and it's evolved. But then joining it was Bale Immortality. A 4 set that lets you only have red health, which in immortal terms is basically infinite health, while letting you heal with every attack, counter big hits, and also amp your defense to over like 1,000. Okay then. And then, if that wasn't enough, Gogmazios Immortality. Have his 4 set to get the barrier, and then preserve that barrier as much as you can with some cheeky Gravios, and have the monster literally do 0 damage to you, despite them unleashing their strongest attacks. It really is a buffet of brilliance for us all to enjoy. And of course, the final Arch-Tempered Arkveld Gamma Armor update has given us one hell of a boost. And yes, Arch-Tempered Arkveld cannot get through immortality, even when you, well, let him beat on you for so long that he eventually gets bored and leaves the zone. I won't say I'm fully AFK this time, because I'm occasionally pressing Bale, as that's part of it, but other than that, the standard just kind of slowly walk towards him, doing nothing to dodge or mitigate, other than the set that I'm wearing, as he beats the ever-loving hell out of me to no avail. And it should be said, if your favourite flavour of immortality is Bale, you are going to be very, very happy with this upgrade. Not only is it tankier than ever, but our actual damage output is getting ridiculous for an immortal set, and comfortably without a single heal consumed the entire hunt, without stopping to attack at any point, without feeling threatened in any way. Beating Arch-Tempered Arkveld in 20 minutes or so is pretty damn good, let's be honest here. And if I was hunting in, a more serious way and not letting myself get hit to prove the immortality, this build could genuinely around 10 minutes him, and I fully believe that. I still need a lot more experience actually fighting him, but also, I kind of don't need it because it's literally impossible that he can kill me, so every hunt is a success anyway, thanks to immortality. I digress. Let's then, with gusto, one last time for a while, get into Immortal. Beginning then with Arkveld's Hunger, Hasten Recovery. Now that we have Gamma Arc Vulcan, Hasten Recovery takes a firm step back into the spotlight as a really nice little immortal helper. The ability to keep healing yourself as you attack, especially when you're taking such little damage, is a real boon, and it's shown up in sets throughout our year of Immortal, but now of course it's going to play a role once more. And how it works is fairly simple. It varies across the weapons, but every sort of 8 seconds or so of uptime on the monster, you will get a heal. So if I do some nice little draw slashes on the greatsword, we will see our health jump up once it is ready to do so. And it will take, there we have it, 6 hits and boom. Now, again, both the amount of attacks and indeed the actual amount of healing varies across the weapons. They're all in their own little groups of effectiveness to allow for weapon speed. But on greatsword, for example, that heal is 10% of your health, which is really good. 10 procs is a full heal. And a fun little quirk about that is that if you have recovery up 3, which of course we will in Immortal, that increase in healing actually takes the 2-set bonus up to the 4-set bonuses worth of effectiveness, because the jump from nothing to 2 is actually much bigger than the jump from 2 to 4. The value in Hasten Recovery is in the 2-set, but I do love that mathematically getting recovery up 3 is like adding the 4-set for free, so that's something to keep in mind. But yeah, it's a really nice little set, not as good as Health Augment back in the day, but it's always good to just have bonus healing coming in, especially on Immortal where you're ignoring the monster. You're not stopping to heal, you're constantly hitting it because it can't hurt you, so you're going to be proccing this a lot on sets where you have it. And then obviously the Arc Vulcan armor itself is really strong. It's got the highest tier of defense, which we love to see, and has a lot of slots and a lot of good skills. Obviously chiefly offensive skills, but that's good. The more damage we can make Immortal do, the better. And things like Flayer, which just do a lot of nice proc damage over a hunt, are even better on Immortal builds that tend to have lower max damage by a little than actual meta sets, because then proc damage is worth more over the course of your hunt. So all in all, I'm very pleased with Arc Vulcan Gamma. So let's start here then with the standard classic Immortal build. Your 4-set Zoshia, constant healing, and then the quartet of I Never Cut that is defense boost, divine blessing, recovery up, and recovery speed with some bonus elemental absorption on top. This one is the one where you just use a crafted defense charm 5 talisman, and you don't need any particular rolls on your Gogma, and as always, any weapon is viable with Immortality. These builds get applied no matter what weapon you're using. Occasionally you'll have to swap out skills like mighty decorations, maximum might. If you're not a maximum might weapon, will change to something you more prefer, but of course they are universal. So this one, your standard one, remains unchanged. This is I want absolutely no RNG anywhere, and sadly the update doesn't really make this better. But it does make it a lot better if you are willing to use an RNG talisman and fish for rolls on your Gogma Artian. We now sub in 2 pieces of Arc Vulcan, which maintains the really high defense, gives us Arkveld Hunger in Hasten Recovery, and we maintain Zoshia 4-set, which is worth it over the 2 because it literally doubles the effectiveness, which is great. It ticks twice as fast, and this is a lovely combination. It adds in a whole extra healing set bonus without losing any skills and increasing the defense because we're no longer using a Suja waist piece. It does mean, of course, that you want to be getting Zoshia's pulse on your weapon, and if you want to do a little bit more damage, you can also get Lord's Soul on your Gogmatian. This, coupled with the 2 Arc Vulcan pieces, will give you Lord's Soul, and while you will take a defense down for that, the attack increase is really nice for some faster hunts, and I'll be honest, you really don't lose that much immortality Immortality. Our defense is reaching such high levels that diminishing returns start to kick in, and the little drop from Lord Soul is just negligible. In any case, though, this ends us in a really, really nice position. Getting the free flayer is really, really good. Elemental absorption stood here. Couple weakness exploit, 3 agitator just to begin with before we even decorate it. It's really, really solid, and I absolutely love it. As far as your weapon decorations go, you do what you usually would for your weapon, though remember that we have less offensive skills in Immortals, so you might need to adjust. For me, instead of 5 critical boost, 3 critical boost and 3 critical eye is better because of breakpoints, so you might have to make that call for your weapon. But in any case then, let's decorate this up, and of course a reminder that the talisman I'm using is 3 defense boost and 2 divine blessing with a 2 and a 1. This is the ultimate immortal talisman because it gives us the most ranks of immortal skills, but it's not absolutely required. You just want a talisman that gives you as many ranks of defense boost, divine blessing, recovery up and recovery speed coupled with the slots as possible, and then adjust accordingly, which I'll go over in a moment. In any case then, yes, decoration. Here we are then. Defense boost up to that maximum 7, agitator up to 4, the counterstrike and maximum might is there, replace of course the mighty jewels with a different 2 slot skill if you're not a maximum might weapon, the divine blessing, the recovery up the speed, the absorption, the 4 set super recovery, and then the 2 set hasten, extra healing coming in. This is just magnificent. We're 1 agitator down, but the flayer more than makes up for it, and then we have the added extra healing coming in from hitting, as well as the constant ticking from Xochitl. This is defensively magnificent at 553 before any extra buffs get put on, and offensively ridiculously impressive considering it's an immortal build. Like, we've got an offensive skill list that would have been really desirable back at the start of Wilds, which is kind of crazy that we've got to this point. As far as just standard by the numbers, be tanky and get a lot of healing automatically via hunting, this is as good as it gets. It's wonderful, and I cannot recommend it enough if this is your way of immortality. I say doing a Naruto impression for some reason. In any case, then, let's move on to the non-RNG Charm version of this. We just got raw defense 5. And as you can see, the overall loss to the build is just defense down to 5. And of course, we lost the extra couple attack that a talisman gives us. We replaced 3 of the defense decorations with divine blessing to make sure it's still there, but other than that, everything else is in place. So that's what I'm saying. The difference between a crafted charm on this and indeed the ideal perfect one is 2 ranks of defense boost and 2 ranks of an offensive weapon skill. And you likely will have a charm that gives more than 5 ranks of defense boost, recovery up, speed, divine blessing, etc. if you include the slots and the raw rolls, because they're not actually crazy rare, because the game doesn't value them very highly. More fool to the game. Of course, you still need that gogmatian roll, but I think getting literally just a gogmatian with Xochitl actually isn't that bad, because you don't need it to roll paired with anything like Lord Soul if you don't want, which really reduces the RNG. So yeah, this one is really good, a standard to uphold, and now, well, we move on to the second option. And it is your 4-set gogmazios to get that 4-set mutual hostility barrier, which gives you a nice chunky bit of extra health whenever the monster enrages, and that of course keeps you alive in a fantastic way when you're so tanky to begin with, because you still mitigate the damage done to that barrier. We also get to have 2 pieces of Xochitl, thanks to it being on the gogmazios helmet, for 2 super recovery. And as you'll notice, this is the non-RNG version of 4-set gogmazios Immortality. Nothing is needed on the weapon, and you can do it with a defense charm 5 just fine. But if you are willing to go into a little bit of farming, a little bit of RNG, as we know, we have this from Title Update 4. We have a lovely selection of skills, the recovery up speed, blessing, and defense boost, all maxed. The peak performance, which does actually come into play with how long we spend at full health thanks to the 4-set Gogmazios shield, a little bit of burst, agitator, elemental option, and the 1 flayer for lovely extra bit of damage procs over the course of the hunt. And then we get to have 4-set Gogmazios for the barrier, 2-set Gravios to make us take that big chunky % less damage while the barrier is up and while on full health, which we are at full health a lot in Immortality, especially with the fact that we can also then stack 2-set Zoshia on top of it, which is just wonderful. This, though, as you can see, hasn't changed, which is why the decorations are already in here. This is more a reminder of anything. Sadly, the Gogmazios 4-set version of Immortality isn't improved by the Arkveld Gamma, and that kind of makes sense, because you need 4 pieces of Gogmazios, and you need 2 pieces of Gravios and 2 pieces of Zoshia, so everything's kind of locked in. But it still is one of my favourite things ever. It's what I use to completely ignore Arch-Tempered Arkveld's Super Dragon Explosion line, and it brings me no end of joy. And I hope that it does the same for you if this is your preferred path. Now then, let's move on to the biggest Immortality winner, at least in my opinion, from Arch-Tempered Arkveld. That looks a little something like this, the 4-set Bale Blackest Night Edition, now enhanced with 2 pieces of Arkveld Gamma in the chest and the waist. And the fact that it's the chest means we get full convert element, which, adding that onto Immortal, the amount of damage we gain from those extra dragon splash procs is immense. I am so pleased with this one. And just look at the initial skill list. Getting the maximum might, the elemental absorption, that latent power, which will be up so much thanks to being able to use the Blackest Night, the resentment, which is very relevant, the extra flayer just built in, 4-set Bale, and then 2-set Arkveld to bring in that constant healing. And on this one, as the main one I would use if I was immortaling, I do have the Lord Soul combo with the Bale on the weapon, so I can get that extra 5% base raw, because as I say, the defense down from it in the grand scheme of Immortal is really a drop in the ocean. But again, you don't have to get a weapon with both Soul of the Dark Knight and Lord Soul, it can just be Soul of the Dark Knight. In any case then, when this is decorated up, this is where we end up. Defense boost ends up being at 4, which is the minimum you need to have to reach the % bonus. Then we get ourselves the counterstrike in there. We get the rest of recovery up, divine blessing, and recovery speed. And yes, seeing these 1-slot decorations in 3 and 2 slots can definitely be a little painful. You can tool this in either direction as you prefer, but we are here to never cut, so damn it, the priority goes to the defensive skills, and I am proud of it. In any case then, this gives us a magnificent skill list. We are still plenty hard to kill, as being AFK against Arch-Tempered Arkveld in literally this set proved, while actually having a ridiculously strong offense. Like, the effective raw on this set is really nothing too shabby. It's approaching 510 with the convert element damage and flayer damage on top, and the extra little hits from the 4-set counter from the Blackest Night. That's only around 7% or so weaker than an actual meta build, and considering how hard we are to kill, yeah, that's kind of silly. I mean, 7 to 11% depending on the weapon we're comparing to, but even if it was 10% less damage to I never need to heal and I can't card against the hardest monsters in the game, I mean, you can see why this is very, very neat. And again, you can tool it to be a little bit more offensive if you want. This then is an absolute winner, and I am so happy with it. Every time you press the Blackest Night, you get 20 seconds or so of you literally cannot die because your health can only be red health, and our red health heals at like times 40 because recovery speed, the song from the hunting horn, and the immunizer item all work multiplicatively together, which is crazy. And then between that, you have just the raw tankiness happiness, the healing from Hasten recovery, and of course any mantles, etc. that you bring. It's just magnificent and I adore it. So if Bale is your Flavour of Immortality, this is the way to go. This one of course is much harder to replace a RNG Charm with a regular one, but you certainly don't need one as good as I have. You just need a +6. Mine, of course, is a +7, which I guess is still nearly as good, but it is what it is. This is kind of your peak form if you're willing to really make it all happen. But of course, you can just put on Defense 5, redecorate as necessary, and still be pretty much there. Then, of course, no matter what Immortal you are playing, you need to have the Queen Chordmaker, the Hunting Horn, and have that in your second weapon, like so, for that recovery speed large song. That's because your ritual before any given hunt should be, as always, as follows. You get said Hunting Horn out on your Sacred, you make sure that you have yourself an Adamant Seed, you make sure that you put on your Hard Shell Powder, you have yourself your Mega Armor Skin. This gives you a nice amount of defense, and considering that I do have Lord Soul on this set, I still have 601 defense, which is just ridiculous. In any case, then you get said Hunting Horn out, and you play that recovery up large song. This will last for about 3 minutes. Once you have played it, then you swap back to your weapon of choice, and finally drink an immunizer. Now you are ready to get into the fight. And of course, make sure you always have going a feast with Defender Meal High for an extra layer of Divine Blessing on top, which of course is a huge boon for any given Immortal build, as well as all the extra resistance, which is really, really nice. And then just to show you how ridiculous, once again, this combination with Blackest Knight is, if we put it on Smash Mode and counter it, look at the red health. Here we go. Like just the power up. And for as long as that buff lasts, you literally just can't take, like, you literally cannot die to anything other than scripted one-shots. And that is brilliant, considering you can do that every 70 seconds or so, coupled with everything else Immortal going on, convert element in there for big dragon splashes. It's just the best. So, there you have it, everyone. That is our final set of upgrades to Immortality in base high-rank wilds. I hope you have enjoyed it, and I, for one, have enjoyed it immensely. I've felt so proud to be able to go on this journey with you, to bring you these Immortal builds, and it's made me so happy that you've enjoyed them so much. It really does mean the world. I cannot wait to see what Master Rank brings for us, and just what we can do there, with, I'm sure, all the new armor sets and skills we'll have to play with. For now then, I wish you the happiest of hunting with these sets. Like you've enjoyed this, subscribe and hit the bell for more, consider supporting the future of the channel on Patreon down below, and until we meet again, a goodbye.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.